Growing up as a Power Rangers fan on the internet, we knew about the show's origins, that being Super Sentai, the Japanese action show. We would watch this Japanese show year after year and speculate how it may be turned into a future Power Ranger season. And usually we were like a year behind the Sentai, so anytime a Super Sentai series would end, the Power Ranger series would start kind of immediately after. However, due to Disney canceling the show in 2010 with Saban brands picking it back up that same year, come 2011 with Samurai, we were now 2 years behind the Sentai. But now that the show is on Nickelodeon, there was a rule that each season must be 22 episodes long, making Saban brand split one show into 2 separate seasons. They did try to play catch up though, combining 2 Super Sentai seasons into one series with Megaforce and Super Megaforce. But at that point, they were too late. Saban brands knew that they were just going to be late for Sentai forever and couldn't be up to date like they used to. So now they have to pick and choose which one to use next. The first started with after Super Megaforce, which instead of going for the spy-based series Go Busters for the 2015 series, they would side with dinosaur-based Shuriken Sentai Kyoryuger. And the fans were actually just straight up confused, but that confusion would lead on to the 2017 series as well, as after Kyoryuger was a train-based Super Sentai called Resha Sentai Toqger. However, when the announcement came in 2016 as to what show they were doing next, they would side with the ninjas and turn Shuriken Sentai Ninninger as their next Power Rangers adaptation, abandoning the trains for good. And even if after Hasbro bought the company and brought back the idea of Go Busters as Beast Morphers for the 2019 and 2020 seasons, since this adaptation hasn't seen the light of day, let's hop on board this mysterious train and check out a show lost to adaptation times. Yo, what's up everybody, it's Este here, welcome back to the video. Let's talk about this forgotten, lost, trained team of Power Rangers, this Super Sentai series that never got adapted into its own Power Ranger series. And you may be asking yourself, why is that? Well, I think that can be centered around 4 words. Kids don't like trains. It's kind of crazy because you see a train and you think, oh, a kid could love a train. Look how cool of a train. It's on a track, it's going somewhere, point A, point B, but if you think about it, it makes sense, at least in the case of this cultural context. Trains in Japan are streets ahead of anything you can see in the United States, as the country can be seen full of brightly lit, litter-free trains distributed evenly throughout the country. Trains are something seen as a regular day-to-day thing in Japan, something that can't be said about the United States, so it's understandable why a kid in Japan could love a train, but not some kid in, you know, the middle of America. Ohio, Michigan, I don't know. In the United States, most trains are limited to metro lines in big urban cities such as Boston, Los Angeles, and of course, New York City. Which obviously you know about the reputation of these New York City subways, you know, Pizza Rat and whatever. And trust me when I say I don't think the train experience a kid could have could really be spun in a positive light in a train show. That's why in the United States, most trips are made via planes and cars. And obviously we've had a lot of car-based Super Sentai. I don't know about planes though. I think that's next up. When's the plane Sentai? An interview with the Dino Fury showrunner Simon Bennett actually further goes into this point, saying how this is purely a cultural thing, as stuff like dinosaurs are universally popular to kids. And that also explains their other decisions, right? So they did Dino Charge and they also did Ninja Steel because, you know, kids always want to be ninjas. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, ninjas are just a popular thing. So maybe Toqger wasn't palatable enough of a show in the first place. Before we talk about more of this failure of a Toqger Power Rangers adaptation, let's talk about something successful, alright? The greatest people ever, the E-Squad. Subscribe and ring notification bell so you don't miss out on any single one of my videos. I'm sure you don't want to miss them. And also because I love the E-Squad so much, E-Squad comment of the day, leave a funny comment down below. You guys are kind of hilarious. Put E-Squad in it, you'll be in the next video. In Toqger, we see 5 people travel on this rainbow line, but they would encounter several problems. They would often arrive to train stations that have been taken over by the evil Shadow Line. The thing about this team of heroes though was that they couldn't remember anything past their childhoods. There was also these set of trains called Reshas they needed to collect in order to save the day. So you can see that these Toqgers are really childish, and that goes on with the mannerisms seen in the show. So one can assume with this plot that, you know, this would be a harder show to film too, right? This show's all about train stations and just trains in general, but where they filmed this show in New Zealand, they don't really use trains that much there, only mostly for exporting and importing items in those big containers. And going back to the mannerisms now, they really are exaggerated compared to other seasons. And that childlike behavior was brought over to the rest of the aesthetic of the show, including simple designs for their suits with big visors and train tracks galore, along with a simple mecha design with a sleek design following the whole show. I mean, we see trains pop up in Power Rangers series before, like, you know, Mystic Force and RPM, but those would usually have a cool design for this one-off Zord. But, you know, this show was fully about trains, and you can't really do much with trains except change their color or add something to the front of it. The aesthetic of the show is just generally seen to be more preschool-like, relating more to shows like Thomas the Train Engine, which I understand Power Rangers the Action Show doesn't really want to relate himself to a kiddie show like Thomas the Train Engine. But funny enough, there would actually be Power Rangers and Thomas the Train Engine toys released in 2017 and beyond. Also, there was multiple waves. This team also featured color changing between the different members of the team, but some people surprisingly saw it as a reason that the show was never adapted in the first place. I don't think that's true personally. And this gave possibilities for stuff like a male Pink Ranger and a female Red Ranger. Now, even in today's worlds where that sounds kind of normal, back then it just really wasn't. It was a rare thing to see. I do need to ask though, because I'm curious, if you guys were Toqger, first question, what number would you be? And 2, what color would you be? Let me know in the comments down below, and leave a like to lock in your answer. 1,500 likes and you'll see more videos just like this one. The intel that was brought over to Ranger Nation from events like Power Morphicon and hearing from representatives from both Saban brands, the showmaker, and Bandai the toy maker, it always goes back into kids don't like trains. And it is very much harder to make a show about trains when your nation that you're airing primarily on isn't really train based. There were 13 different trains in Toqger, and it would have been a difficult task to implement them all story-wise. Like, having one train in a Power Ranger season is enough, but once you have trains like drills, shields, police car, firemen, it's getting a little messy. I don't know how they would implement that into a show. Maybe you would in the comments down below. There are also some Sentai Resha, which I think would have been very cool in a toy-like sense. We actually see one of these in the show with the Kyoryuger Resha that combined with the main Resha of the show. Make this Kyoryuger Toqger crossover X-Zord thing, which I really liked. But there were also Reshas released for other seasons like Go Busters, Go Kaiger, Go Seiger, Shinkenger, Go Onger, and the Kamen Rider series Den-O. Now, a lot of these trains do have Power Rangers counterparts, and it would have been cool to see Bandai make trains related to other shows as well. Regardless on what you think, having a collectible set of trains would be really cool to have, especially if it was based on different teams and colors. I do like trains, alright? I like trains a little bit. Trains are cool, but Bandai of America, they weren't giving out. We really had missed out on some amazing aspects of this show, including the really frightening royal team of villains. I mean, look at this Emperor, dude, for real. Nightmare fuel, seriously. I did glad we missed stuff like the robot girl and the hand puppet. That's just silly Sentai stuff. No wonder they thought this was for preschoolers. This show was literally looking like Paw Patrol or something. Those aspects won't be missed, but Toqger as a whole, as a concept, it is actually missed by fans a lot. However, folks, we did get some Toqger aspects in Power Rangers though, mostly in the villain side of things. Cosmo Royale from Ninja Steel has a costume which is a recycled version of the villain Baron Nero, now rocking a brand new head that can rock a variety of emotions, as well as shrunken shoulders. And that's not all, folks, because in Dino Fury, we see the Toqger's influence also there as well, as Santura's Void Queen form would use the costume of the villain Madame Noir, though completely unmodified. But hey, we got our Toqger adaptation, alright, just with villains and not Rangers at all. What do you think about this? What if Toqger made a good Power Rangers adaptation? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, DDonFuego. I'm also on Instagram, NotDonFuego. E-Squad, I love you to death. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're at. And of course, and as always, stay awesome, everybody.